Today is the 13th of November 2023, and would like to look at Pythagoras Theorem. Okay, that will be our first lesson. Thank you to everyone that has been watching our videos. If you haven't done it already, please can you subscribe, follow, like and share? Can you consider doing it, please? I will appreciate that. And if the account is not yours, please ask for permission or ask somebody to help you to open your own account. It's very important. I normally write, please follow my notes/script, okay, in the comment section. It's a good habit to do in maths. Even when you are reading a maths textbook, it's a very good habit, okay, because assuming there can be a couple of ways to solve questions. So if you are even reading one type of textbook and you think, oh, I can solve it this way, maybe there's an easier way of doing it, okay? So please follow my notes/script. And then, assuming, for instance, plus x means move to the right, you wouldn't understand what I mean, okay? But you need to be watching. And if I said plus x move to the left, you need to follow where my pen is, because that's what I'm trying to say, okay? And you know that it isn't right, okay? So thank you very much on that. Please beware of scammers, okay? Even me, at times I get messages and I'm wondering whether I should reply or not, okay? Because they can go into your friend list, create an account as if they were your friend, and then send you requests or use that to send you messages, and then you let them in, and then they start badging you about stuff. Please beware of scammers. It's important. Recap. We've been looking at transformation as a very big topic. So far we've done like 5 videos on it. Please, we did the last lesson with enlargement, okay, giving a scale factor, and I did illustration about how to find the center of enlargement. With time, I'll bring questions and we'll plot it and we'll see it ourselves. Especially, I think I would like to look for a past paper that has a similar question so that we can solve it step by step, okay? Refer to the last video, it will help you a lot, okay? And transformation is a topic that nearly comes every year with less mathematical work, just plotting and putting things around, okay? So if you learn it very well, there's a big chance that you can get full marks on that question, and it can push you up, okay? Push your marks up to get the grade you want. let's do some starters. So we are going to recap on transformation. Okay, we said with translation we use this vector. So instead of writing it as x1 in the coordinate form, okay, we use this, okay, x, we write it in this form. Okay, so for instance, if they say to us translate a coordinate, and the coordinate is positive, for instance 2 for the x, it means move right. And if it's negative for the 2, it means move left. Okay, if it's negative for the x, it says move left. Now in the y, if it is positive value, it means move up. If it's negative, it means move down. Okay, that is what we learned about translation. We use a video to explain that. Okay, now reflection. We use the line of reflection or equation of the line of reflection. So for instance, the way you can see yourself in the mirror, okay, we use that, we cut the line, so like to give us y equals 0, x equals 0, y equals x, y equals 1, x equals -3. These are all lines of reflection that they will give us, and they will give us coordinate to plot, and then they'll ask us to reflect it on that line. Okay, we've done a video on that. Please go back and watch if you don't understand. Rotation, we said you have a center of rotation. Okay, you have the direction. It can be clockwise or anti-clockwise, unlike bearings where it is on the north clockwise. With rotation, they can ask you to do the clockwise rotation or anti-clockwise rotation. Okay, around an angle, maybe 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. Okay, I showed you how to do that. I use a graph paper and showed you how to do that. You can always go back and refer. We talked about enlargement. That was the one we did in the last video, and we said you will have a center of enlargement, and you normally use a scale factor. Okay, so for instance, if they give you a square and they ask you to enlarge it with a scale factor of 2, it just means double the size. If they ask you to enlarge it with a scale factor of half, it just means reduce the side. Okay, so we said if the scale factor is greater than 1, it means you are going to get a larger image, and if it's less than 1, you are going to get a smaller image. However, in each cases, because you've either increased or reduced the size, it is called classified. It's still classified as enlargement. Okay, so this is what we've been doing so far under the topic transformation. Please go back and watch the video if you don't understand. these are questions with little mathematical input that you can get full marks on. Okay, you can just get all the marks just by plotting and reading it step by step and doing it and answering the question. You can get full marks on that. Now today we want to talk about Pythagoras Theorem. Pythagoras was a mathematician. He lived around I think 580 to 500 BC. Okay, so at least he lived up to 80 years. He worked a lot on triangle, especially right angle triangles. He was the one who came up with the Pythagoras Theorem. Okay, I think he was also a Greek or from Greece. Okay, these are not things. These are things you can easily ask Siri, and Siri will tell you all about. So if you are interested in the history of Pythagoras, you can just Google it or ask Siri. Siri will tell you everything about Pythagoras. Okay. Now, it deals with the right angle triangles. By now you should know what a right angle triangle is. Okay, but for the sake of those who don't know and they are watching the video first time, you have a triangle and one of the angles is 90 degrees. You remember recently we're doing some triangle construction, and then you'll be given two angles, and then you've been asked to plot the graph, or you've been given two sides or three sides, and then you not graph, do plot the triangle. Okay, or you've been given one angle and maybe two sides and you plot. Okay, so these are some of the work Pythagoras did. And he came up with a theorem. Okay, one angle in the triangle should be 90 degrees. For you to use Pythagoras theorem, okay, the one we are going to use today, one of the right angles in the triangle should be 90 degrees. So for instance, this diagram, the angle here is 90 degrees, but the diagram is not to scale. Okay, I've measured the angle 90 degrees, but the length are not to scale. Okay, so what he found out was, if you have a right angle triangle, the side that faces the longer side, the C, that one, the right angle triangle that faces the C, okay, this one, if you square C, it is equal to A squared plus B squared. So this is basically his theorem. C squared equals A squared plus B squared, and we've used it to solve a lot of equations. Okay, or C will be equal to the square root of A squared plus B squared. Okay, now because it's length, you don't normally bring the plus or minus, but today I'm bringing the plus or minus to just remind you that if you are doing length questions, because it's length, your answer cannot be negative. Okay, so let's look at our first example. This is the right angle triangle. This right angle triangle is opposite to this side C, okay, and it's not to scale, and we are going to find C because they've given us A and B. So if you apply Pythagoras theorem, all he said was C squared, okay, the C squared will be equal to 4 squared, okay, plus 5 squared. Okay, that is what this means. Okay, so now we know this is 4 and this is 5. It's in centimeters, so we'll bring our centimeters in the end. Okay, so applying Pythagoras theorem, C squared will be equal to 4 squared plus 5 squared. Again, this is an opportunity for you to learn how to use your calculator or to practice the use of your calculator. So C squared will be equal to 4 squared is 16 plus 5 squared is 25. If you add both, you get C squared will be 41. Now C, okay, assuming you didn't know it was length, it will be plus or minus the square root of 41. But we want length, okay, so if you are going to answer our question, then we have to choose the positive side, not the negative, because you can have minus 6.4 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to take the centimeters off here. So we are going to choose the positive 6.4 centimeters, and this is to 1 decimal place because they've given us units in centimeters. Okay, so our answer here is 6.4 centimeters. They can ask you to leave the answer as the nearest whole or 2 decimal place. I've not been told anything, so I left my answer in 1 decimal place. Now another example today. Okay, today we are only concentrating on the C side. Okay, how do we solve it? Okay, we want to do that because at times when you are working with foundation students and you do everything, they just get muddied up. Okay, so I'm going to show you just one side. So here again, that is our right angle triangle. That is our C. Okay, so now from Pythagoras, okay, 3.5 squared plus 5.5 squared will be equal to C squared. So this is what I have here, okay, from the formula we've been given, that Pythagoras gave us. So C squared, now if it's in the calculator paper, then you have to use this because I hope it would. So equals 3.5 squared, which will give you this 12.25 plus 5.5 squared, which is 30.25. If you add both of them together, C squared now will be 42 plus 50. Now, when you are using the calculator, don't just be writing what the calculator gives you. I've made a video about estimation. Okay, so 12 and 30 will be 42. So this is about right. Okay, so c squared will be plus or minus the square root of 42.50. Okay, now c will be equal to 6.5 plus or minus, but we are looking for length. Okay, so I will choose only the positive answer. So 6.5. Now, our question was in centimeters. So 6.5 centimeters, 1 decimal place. So that will be our answer. Now let's look at another example. Okay, the first two is guess you can see it this way, but the second one, look at where the right angle triangle is, and they've asked us to find c. Is right angle triangle flipped on the other side. Okay, so immediately you see this sign, and you have two sides, and they ask you to find the length of one side. You should be thinking about Pythagoras Theorem. Okay, which is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So c squared will be 15 squared plus 12.5 squared. So c squared will be 15 squared plus 12.5 squared. So c squared again, 15 squared on the calculator, will give us 225 plus 12.5 squared on the calculator will give us 156.25. Now c squared will be equal to, when you add them together, 381.25. So c equals plus or minus the square root of 381. Okay, this is where you should follow my notes, because I've missed the 1.25. Now, if you do this rightly on the calculator, you should get 19.5, okay, millimeters. And because it's length, we are going to choose the positive. Now, our question is in millimeters. So if they've given you millimeters, don't go and be writing meters or centimeters. Just write the units that they've given you the question on. So it means this length from here to here, by Pythagoras Theorem, which is true, is 19.5 millimeters to 1 decimal place. Now, this is another right angle triangle. Okay, the 90 degrees right angle triangle is here. By now, even if you're in foundation, you should know that this means 90 degrees. Okay, and you should know that the angle in a triangle is 180, because we've done some good videos on triangles. Okay, now we know this side and we know this side, the A and the B, but the C part, we are asked to find C. So c squared again, this part, which is opposite the right angle triangle, will be equal to 15.1 squared plus 12.3 squared. Okay. If you use the calculator, you are going to get 228.01, okay, for 15.1 squared plus 151.29. Now 12 squared is 144, so this is quite right. Okay, that is how you can use estimation to see if the calculator is giving the right answer, because in the exam, assuming you press a function or you didn't clean the calculator and it gave you another number, you should be able to use estimation to think this is far off. Assuming the calculator gave me 15.29, then I know that this is not right. Okay, when you add both numbers, okay, you are going to get 379.3. Okay, that is c squared. Now c will give me plus or minus the square root of 379.3. Okay, so c will be plus or minus 19.5. But I'm looking for the length from here to here, so I'm going to choose again the positive. Okay, so C now will be 19.5. What unit? Meters. Okay, meters to 1 decimal place. Okay, so that is how we find the C part here, from here to here, the side opposite the right angle. Using our Pythagoras theorem, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Okay, today we are just going to consider finding the C part, because if you can find the A part, then you can find the B part, so you can do both together and then you see the difference. Okay, but today all I need to show you is to use Pythagoras theorem to find the length opposite the right angle triangle and to put your unit right. Okay, all our answers today is 1 decimal place. Okay, so that is basically what I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching our video today, and I'll see you in the next.